Okay, so last class mein what was the issue? We were having some issue with the path, right? We were not able to read the config.properties file. So I changed that.
Yes.
There were spaces in the folders, and that seems not accepted by the file input stream, and that is the reason it was failing. So after that, I changed it, and it worked fine. So let me just quickly give you a walkthrough of what we have done in the past class, and then we will run this code, and then we will proceed further. So this was the overall structure of the framework, right? So we had a base class, test base, and then we had a config file. In that we are saving the environment variables and all. Then we have several page classes for each of the web page, right, in our application. Add to cart, checkout, customer registration, forward password, home page, logout, my account. I mean, though the sequence of the pages is not matching with the web page because it is showing in the alphabetical order, right? So usually the flow would be like, first you would be on the home page, then you will move on to the sign in page and my account page, and likewise there would be a flow. And the next folder what we created is for package, what we created is for test data. So just to keep any of the test data file, XLS file, etc., we will be keeping in this package. And for any utility kind of methods and all, that we will keep in testutils.java, or any other Java file if required, we will keep in this package, actually, utility package. Right. So these were the packages which we created in main Java. And in test Java, we are creating only the test cases. And for each web page, we have a separate test class, right? So that day we created a test class for home page and sign in page, right? So I will come on to that one by one. So this was my test base class, wherein I am actually instantiating my WebDriver and initializing my properties file, right? So in the constructor of this test base, I have initialize my properties file, right? So every time the constructor is called, my properties file would be initialized, and all the values from properties file would be loaded in this prop variable, right? And then I created one initialization method, which actually taking the uh, drivers for this, setting up the driver, web driver, I mean the driver for the Selenium WebDriver, and then instantiating it, right, for the different browsers. For Chrome driver, this is the path, and Firefox, this is the path, and Edge, this is the path, right? And the browser property I'm reading from the this config.properties, right? And then I have maximize the browser, then page load timeout, implicit wait, and then I am reading the URL also from the config.properties file, right? So this all we have done in the base class, and base class being the super class or the parent class for all the all the classes of your framework, right? So this would be the parent class, and I would be inheriting this class in every other class. Next is your config properties, wherein I set the property for browser, that is my Chrome as of now, the URL, right? So this is your application URL. There's username and password, which seems correct for logging into the application, right? So only 4 properties I am having as of now, and based on the need, I can have more properties also, right? And then on the pages part, I guess we created only this home page. Let me check if there is nothing is there in the sign in page. So in home page, this is I am using the page factory design pattern. So I identified a sign in link as of now to using @find by annotation, and therein I have given the XPath of that, and then I have created one constructor of this page, home page, right? And using the constructor, I am initializing the web page objects here, right? So page factory.init element followed by driver, and then this is referring to this class, as in this homepage.java class. Okay, so my web page objects are initialized here, and then I have created a couple of action methods, right? So this all is a page object model, right? So in each page I am having a page objects, then initializing those page objects, and then having the methods. So first method was like click on the sign in button, then validate homepage title. Then the third one was like validate homepage URL. Right? So for clicking on the sign in button, I had to click on that sign in link, right? So for sign in, I have already located that element using @findby. So I just had to click that element. And then once you click on that element, you are actually moving on to the sign in page, right? So sign in page is nothing but your next page. So it is returning the object of the next page. Okay, and so you understood that, Disha, right? So new sign in page,
Yes.
it is, and then I am passing the reference of this here. Okay, and this one is your validate homepage title. So I am getting the title of the web page and I am passing it, returning it, right? So this is a this get title is does return the string type value. So my return type should be string. Similarly, the get current URL. So this also returns the string. Okay. So likewise, I created 3 action methods here. Now my next task was to so this is my util file wherein I have, as of now, I have already only defined 2 static variables, which is your page load timeout and then implicit wait. So those are actually common for all the classes. So that's why we are keeping it in the utility file, right? So and all these 2 variables are static variables, so I can directly call using the class name, right? So here I have called it using the class name dot the variable name. Okay. So until here it is fine, right, Disha?
Yes.
Okay, and then we created couple of test cases, right? So I have created one class for test case class for homepage Java, right? So wherein I am having this one before method and then after method, right? So before method is actually initializing uh, your this driver, right? So this method is called from here, and this is again a static method, right? So it can be called directly, right? So and I am already extending this class here, so I can call it directly here, right? And then I am creating an object of this my page home page, wherein I am creating defining the page objects and then page action methods, right? So I'm creating the object of that class. Fine. And then using that object reference, I am calling the method, right? So I have created 3 tests. One is for homepage title test, second is for homepage URL test, and third is for click on sign in page. So click on sign in button. So homepage title test is nothing but your will validate your homepage title. So using this reference, I can call that method, and that since that is returning your uh, string, right? So I am storing in that in a string variable, and then I am using the assert equal from test ng, and then validating whether this title is matching or not.
Correct,
If it is matching, then my test case would be passed. If it is not matching, then my test case would be failed. Okay. So he is next is your homepage URL test. So again, for homepage URL test also, I am calling the method from this homepage .java class, and again this is returning me the URL in the string form, and then I am validating it URL, and then this third one was to click on the sign in button, right? So sign in button, when I am clicking on the sign in button, it is actually returning the reference of the sign in page, sign in, right? So once I am clicking on the sign in button, it is moving on to the sign in page. So it is returning the reference of the sign in page, so that I am storing in this object reference. Okay, so sign in, I have created a object. I have declared that at global level. So this is the object of this object reference of this sign in page. Okay, so I will not get the null pointer exception or the kind of WebDriver exception when I do that, right? So my this is also ready, homepage test Java. And here what I have to do, one more thing, I have to create a constructor of this homepage test case class. Okay, because we have to call the parent class constructor here. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a parent, this constructor of this homepage class. And this will call your parent class constructor, right? So once this object is created, this will call the parent class constructor, and my this test base, this properties file would be initialized, right?
Yeah, correct.
So my this, hi Vishal.
Anything.
So let me run this using testng.test. I think this website is slow today. So timeout is coming. Okay. Yeah, and so what we will do, guys, we will first, instead of this defining this system.set property, we will use the WebDriver manager class, right? So as Vishal mentioned in the last class, we should use that. So for that, what we have to do, we have to create, we have to use WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. Okay, so Disha, this actually will take care of your browser driver. So you don't have to define the path of this. You don't have to give this system.set property and then giving the path of this browser driver and all. And you don't have to download all those browser drivers in your machine. You can
EXE
directly,
files in the machine.
yeah, it will automatically do it for you. For that, you have to add one dependency in your pom.xml file. Right, so
That version has been changed, right? If I'm not wrong. This is for Selenium new version. Am I correct?
which one?
This WebDriver manager, the code which we have written, that has been initialized. I mean, that has been implemented currently, right? In new version.
Yeah, so we can use new version. I mean, it is up to us. WebDriver manager. Yeah, this is the one. So we can take any version, as in like after 4. Let's take this new version only. Once we add this dependency, all your Firefox, Chrome, Edge, all those would be added in your old version also, right? So let me add it here. And I can format this using this format control plus shift plus F. So once you do that, it would be formatted. Okay, once I add this dependency, just save this and then it will download all your browser drivers in your M2 folder. So there would be many. Let's see, you can see that Edge driver, Firefox, all that would be added here. Okay, and then I can remove this line officially from here, as in this system.set property. I just have to write only this line. So for H Firefox driver, I have to write like WebDriver manager dot Firefox driver dot setup, and for Edge driver, WebDriver manager dot Edge driver dot setup. Okay, so I can comment this line. And let's try one test case at least with a different browser this time. So let me change the browser name from here, from config, from Chrome to Firefox. Okay, and let's run the home test. Yes, so it is working fine. We have tested that with Firefox as well as with WebDriver Manager class. Okay, there is an issue with the I guess when you click on the sign login button, there is an issue with that. All right, so this WebDriver manager is fine. Right, so we can remove this from our code. And now let's write the code for your sign in page. How to reach to that page? I guess we can directly go to that page, right? So using your so we can use this URL directly to inspect our element and then create our action method by the time your application is up. So let me go to your sign in page, right? So what I have to do here, so first is your creating page objects. Right? So at the rate find by, and what all I need to look for here is your email address field, then password field, and then sign in, right? So that would be my objects which would be required for me to log in into the application. So let's take the ID for this. So I am having a ID, and ID equal to web element, let's say uname, and find by I have to import from web element. I have to import from openqa.selenium. Okay, so this would be my username, and then password would be for this also, let's take the ID only. ID equal to PWT, and then sign in. Click on the login button. So for clicking, we have ID, so submit login. Okay, so my the basic web objects are ready. Now I have to create a constructor of this to initialize my web page objects. So constructor would be, see, once your skeleton is ready, mostly it would be like the same code you are writing for the other classes also, or you can just do the copy paste also from your previous classes. So I can copy this line because this would be common to my sign in page also. And then my next would be to create the action methods. What all action I need to perform on that page, right? So let's see, once we land on this page, we are actually checking the URL of this page. When we are just validating the URL of this page, we are validating the title of this page, and then we are clicking on the sign in button, right? So as of now, let's design these three test cases. So for validating URL of this page, public void sign in page title test, sign in page title test here. And it would give me driver dot, my title would be coming with this, and this would return me I would return this, and since this is your string, then I should return the string. Sign in page title test, public void sign in page URL test, and this also driver dot get current URL. This method will also return you a string. So it's same as what we designed for homepage, right? So in homepage also we validated first your homepage title and then URL, right? So similarly we are testing it. We are writing the test cases for we are writing the action methods for these two. Now the next would be to enter the username and password, and then logging into the application, right? So For that, I will write the method like public void login into app. So for that, I'm having uname dot. What is your uname dot send keys, and I need to pass parameter, right? So that we will pass from your method, from your test case. So let's see username and password. And web element password